When I'm in a reading slump or a writer's block, I tend to go back to the saying that we use in our book clubs. There are many ways of reading, so I don't just limit myself to finding a book or finishing a novel. I then tend to pivot and I go and read something that's less, like a short story, I read a poem, I listen to music, go on walks, go to the art gallery. So within our book club we have the saying, there are many ways of reading, because you don't have to just review one book. The many ways of reading came from a long history of us being able to review series, being able to review movies, being able to review a piece of music, a piece of art, whatever you think has inspired you and you've learned from during that week or just before we had our meeting. So definitely I use that wherever I go, that mantra, there are many ways of reading. So you can come and review like a short story, you can come and review an article, like a newspaper article, or just anything that you found that was of interest to you. So I find that those things, when you do have reading blocks or you're going through a reading slump or writing blocks, etc., those, like any external thing that you're learning from and like you're taking in, has a way of actually reducing that, has a way of inspiring you to go back and read and finish your story or read something else. Like there are so many avenues that we just don't let our brains explore. So that's what I definitely do when I'm going through a reading slump or when I'm going through writer's block. So, and I advise other people to do the same as well. I tend to read many genres at the same time, but I think we have enough self-help books in the world, but I mean, they'll never stop coming, I guess. Yeah, there's just a lot of them, and honestly, no one can get through all of them at the same time. I'm definitely not reading self-help books at the moment. Maybe an audiobook here and there, but definitely not self-help books. For those times when I'm just like lazing around, I tend to read fantasy. I read fiction a lot nowadays. I read novels, like not love stories. I'm not a big fan of romantic books or whatever, but definitely fantasy, epic fantasy, sci-fi. I really love people's autobiographies, especially if they're written well, and I like the older people's, like people who've been long gone, and you know, they just inspired generations to do things, like the musicians of old or the painters. I like people's autobiographies just to see how they were thinking during that time. So that's the genres that I'm gravitating towards right now. If you're a first-time writer, I definitely advise you to write every day. That's the first thing that I would recommend that you do. Write every day, even if it's just like, even if things are not coming to you, just try to get that first draft out of the way. Write every day. Like, write from the heart, write from your own experiences, or at first at least draw from your own experiences. Don't necessarily try to force it and write from another person's perspective. Draw from your own mind. I know like a lot of people have told me, you know, write what you don't know. That's what Datezek Mda would tell me. But if you're a new person, definitely write from your own experiences. If you're trying to get into writing, into the habit, into the flow of writing, and then, you know, do your research. Do your research on the thing that you're trying to get out there. Understand what people are reading right now. Understand what people would want to be reading in the future. Yeah, hone in on your skill of storytelling. Like really try to just write, even if it's a short story from beginning to end, like just understand what it is that you're getting yourself into. Familiarize yourself with writing. Be comfortable with it. Understand what makes you want to write, like what environmental changes you should make. I think at a certain point in your life, even at a certain age, you just have so many experiences to draw from. And if you can write out and clearly articulate those experiences, then I think you are on the right track. You never know what people gravitate to, so just really just start writing. If you like it, then it's good enough for you to put out there into the world. But also find people who will proofread your work, find people who will edit your work for you and be like, okay, I want to turn the page while I'm reading this thing. For the person who's writing for the first time, be kind to yourself. Do it over and over and over until you feel that you're getting it right or you've gotten it right. And honestly, just have fun with it, man. It's not that deep, it's not that serious. So that's the advice that I'd have for someone who's beginning to write.